Usually takes 10 to 15 minutes for people to file in. I've been watching YouTube videos about porn stars. Sort of uneventful. I've just been digging into random things that interest me and debating with Rash off and on about religion. Haven't really done a lot today, to be honest, but not bad. Just sort of neutral. Oh yeah, it's very interesting to me. I like to watch debates. Sometimes I'll watch debates on things that aren't really that pertinent to me, just so I can kind of get different views and understand like different argumentative techniques and shit. Hello, Odyssey. Yeah, it's very interesting. I think just logic itself is like great in its own right. Like people are always like, why is that interesting? And like, I don't know, it's like the entire lens through which you view the world. Debate isn't just like this separate thing that like exists on an island like pretty much anything else. It literally it's like an extension of how you think. It's important. This is unstructured, so whatever people want to talk about. I think Rash wanted to go into a couple of things and also go into the whole uh, Israel Palestine deal at some point. There really isn't any comparison. Like it's either logic or like there is nothing else, at least in terms of like legitimacy. Yeah, I was starting to get out of control. I like it like all the way up until it gets like way out. Like it looks like I hadn't fucking. I look like a bum. Like I hadn't done shit for like weeks. Then I'm like, yeah, I gotta take care of this. I like Wildman to a certain extent, but once it's my thing is like the whole upper area, I prefer to keep fairly trimmed. And when it starts looking like part of the whole package, I don't like it. Hello, Rash. I do that all the time. I'm like hairy as fuck just naturally, so I'm like always yanking out fucking long nose hairs. I get hair on my ears and especially in the upper shoulder area. I can't hear you, Rash. Well, I think I can hear some background noise now.
You hear me now?
Yes, I hear you, but you're breaking up a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but
Right.
it's not really great. I got some video now.
Yeah, I kind of expected as much.
Might have to break out the whiteboard. You were serious. A prophecy without a time or location is just a statement. So I think that it's important to have time included just to make it legitimate, but I don't think that time is necessary for a prophecy to be a prophecy. Like like it's still a prophecy without time. I just don't take it seriously. Like I don't know if we disagree on that or not. Like I don't think there's any rule that a prophecy has to include specific dates. I just think that it needs to in order to be legit. That's bad. What's the deal? Is internet just not great there? That's just me being honest about how I view it. Like mic and bad Wi-Fi. Why don't you just do direct internet connection rather than Wi-Fi? That's pretty much how I feel. But also, it can't be extremely vague because you can just use basic like inference to or like critical thinking. Oh, because you're on your phone. That makes sense. Like if it's extremely vague, then it's not really astounding as a prophecy in my personal opinion because like I can come up with certain things like I've said that the economy is going to tank under Trump. That's not a prophecy. That's not me like being some sort of magical person. Like that's common sense really. Betty Lafarge, you seriously just hurt my feelings. I don't know if I'm going to recover from that to be honest with you. I'm tore up. Lafarged. I believe so. Like the guy that was on here not long ago, I can't remember his name, that had some very specific predictions. That wasn't vague because I was able to like dig out more from him. But now, to be clear, I don't think any of the things he said are going to come true, but I'll hand it to him. He was very specific. He even gave a timeline and everything. So we'll be able to find out whether or not it's legitimate or not.
Oh, yeah.
Wesley or something. Yeah. Lord Gadwin has a memory. I need one of those. No, not Tom. I don't think he gave any sort of predictions or anything. Wesley Curry, though, like I could call what he did a prophecy. Now, again, I don't think it's legitimate, but he was also specific. So I won't say it was just a prophecy. It was what I would call a good prophecy, a detailed, elaborate prophecy. So, Rash, I don't know how we're going to do this. What specifically did you want to talk about? Did you have something in mind? Oh yeah, I'd already dug into that. I actually I didn't put it out. I wanted to make a video, but I didn't get a chance. I wanted to go ahead and call it ahead of time because it's obvious as shit that fucking Netanyahu was going to find some sort of bullshit fucking reason to pull out. Like he was never serious in the first place. At least I don't believe so. It's worth noting that Hamas said that why didn't you take this exact same deal months ago? Because it was the exact same deal. Nothing changed. And then all of a sudden, Trump pushed and Biden pushed even further. And then they said that they accepted it. Yeah, in May. That's the exact month. And it's the exact same shit. Nothing changed. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay. So there's some shit going on behind the scenes. Either Trump cut a deal, something's going on that we don't have all the information, but in whatever the case is, he reneged all it. And Netanyahu claimed that Hamas reneged on the deal, but I don't see any evidence for that. Parliament, what? Parliament want the war to continue. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I agree. So some people are saying that it's not necessarily Netanyahu himself, that it's the psychopaths that run his fucking administration, the people in frickin' big positions, which may be true. I don't know. I don't think I've ever made a claim that Donald Trump is not, well, he's currently not. He's about to be president, but yeah, I don't do that weird thing that the right does where they claim that it was all like some conspiracy. Like I'm well aware that Donald Trump won. Smoking meth and picking Jolly Ranchers out of your 3 teeth. I actually have no teeth, thank you. Fix fix that shit. So
yeah, America has really poor dental care for people.
Well,
We're
for
priced out
me,
of it.
I'm specific. I think Britain is known for being way worse in that regard. I think we actually have decent, like, we have in general, like big picture, I think we have decent teeth. I'm very strange. Like, we don't even completely know why. I think the running theory is I have a calcium deficiency, and that played into a big part of it.
I didn't get my wisdom teeth pulled.
You didn't?
Yeah, so they just came in and pushed everything into each other.
Yeah, that
They're
causes some
huge.
issue.
Yeah.
No, no, no. I'm not talking about the actual the structure of the system. I'm
Yeah, that's what I was
talking
gonna
about.
say. Britain
Go
actually has
ahead.
way better dental than us because theirs is free.
Absolutely, I
They can
agree.
just walk in and get it.
I completely agree. So I'm
For
talking. We're talking about two different things. So I don't even know if this is true. By the way, it could be bullshit, but it's commonly understood that no people make fun of it. Like I'm not talking about the structure of the system. I'm talking about people go like Britons, they have terrible teeth. Like somebody said that something had to do with fluoride in the water and that they don't do that. And that's a big part of the reason. I don't know if any of that's true or not.
I don't like fluoride because, like, if you used to see it on toothpaste and stuff, it used to say if you eat more than like a toothpaste or a pea-sized drop of it, called poison control. I mean, it's
Mm,
toxic to humans, like
right.
extremely. So
So
and
the
I'm like, if you
question
drank a lot
is,
of water,
if it's in small quantities, though, is there evidence that shows that it like accumulates and causes problems down the road or something?
well, I think it causes. Now, the Germans used fluoride for all kinds of experiments. That's where a lot of chemical weapons were actually derived from, is fluoride.
Mm-hmm.
And but using it in large quantities, like water supply, they can cause people to come where they can't get pregnant as easy. I can't think of the word. Fertile. It kills fertility rates
Oh,
in
damn.
the people who drink it. And if you're looking around the world where we have fluoride in the water supply, we're seeing birth rates dropping. Where
Interesting.
fluoride is in heavy use, like toothpaste and stuff.
Is it a direct correlation or is it believed to play a role?
It's just my kind of observation kind of thing.
Right. It could be. It's interesting. They need to put more freaking funding into researching shit like that.
Instead of just throwing it in water for the last, like, how many decades? Because it came
Mm-hmm.
about after World War II, and the Nazis are the ones that did the testing with all the fluoride and shit. And then we brought their scientists here.
I'm perfectly cool with your healthcare system. I think it's way better. Volcano in Europe spewed out some kind of fluoride and it killed cows by attacking their bones. What the hell?
Yeah, like fluoride is nasty stuff. It's toxic.
Hmm.
I don't know. I never took them in school. I thought it was always weird. Do you ever remember fluoride tablets?
No.
My school, when I was in school, from kindergarten all the way through, they would always call up everybody in a line and they'd give them a fluoride tablet, a little tablet to take it. I was the only one that never got one. Found it weird, but some reason I was exempt from it.
Hmm. I may do some digging into it. Every time I come on panel, I've got like a list of shit I have to research.
Yeah, but there's just like a little pink pill looking thing. Teacher handed them out, just like a medicine every day to the kids. I was the only one that just never got one.
Hmm. I don't know. Overrun by immigrants like flies around shit. So it's a common trope to act like people want free shit, and it's kind of dumb to come at it from that angle anyway. It shouldn't be a for-profit industry in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of disgusting making profits off sick and dying people.
Yep. There's many other things that you can make a profit on, and it's completely legit. In fact, I am very pro capitalism when it comes to like the vehicle industry. Like we don't want like no fucking Soviet Union era cars. We remember how fucking shit those were. Like
But
there are certain areas where I think the free market is great, but the healthcare, not one of them.
did you ever see what they do with old automotives though? Like the stuff they didn't sell for that year?
Mm. No.
They take thousands of basically brand new cars, never driven more than, through the factory to get to that parking lot. They bring in a giant wood chipper looking thing and literally just turn them all into a pile of wood chips.
What the
Thousands
hell?
of them.
I
Just
agree,
because they can't
Rash.
sell them. So instead of them being able to sell them or just give them away, by grinding them up, it's caused losses and they write off on their taxes, and then it's compensated by the taxpayers.
Hmm. That's
We
weird.
we have socialism for the rich, so they can basically take products, record all their losses, and make the taxpayers pay for it. But if the taxpayers want basic just health care, that's too much.
Yeah, I agree. So, this is something that I really don't understand. I don't know much. I'm a typical American. I don't know shit about anything in the rest of the world unless I specifically dig into it, like Gaza. And even then, I'm not an expert. But I don't know shit about the UK. So it's funded by British taxpayers for British people, and it's being abused by people that aren't even British. Like, that may be true for all I know. Um, I will say that I'll bet that there's a narrative that goes against that, even in your own country. Like, there would people that oppose that and say that that's not true. So it, like everything, especially when it comes to politics, it's complicated. That is one of the dumbest takes I've ever heard, Betty. If you like Gaza so much, why don't you go there?
If you like conservatism so much, why don't you look up the list of top 10 conservative nations and go move there?
I thought
I'm sure
Britain
you
was
won't like
first
it.
world.
Britain barely has any immigrants. They act like they're overrun. It's like their population is like 60 million people. There's barely anybody on that island.
You could easily handle that potential problem. And in fact, it's the way we handle everything else here when it comes to like welfare. There's this myth that goes around that like immigrants are taking millions of dollars. That's not true. You have
That's
to
a
have a
big
social
joke.
security number. Like,
hmm
and it would work the same way with healthcare. You can't just walk up and randomly and like no one checks anything. Don't check your name. You get healthcare, it's free. That's not how things work. Like,
I never understood how they overlook everything about that. They think they just hand food stamps out to everybody. No, like you need to
yeah,
have
it
case
doesn't.
workers and everything, go through all kinds of shit, paperwork, back history. I mean, nobody just hands shit out anywhere unless you're a fucking homeless person getting a couple of dollars on the street.
Yeah. Betty, I don't know who you're talking to specifically, but I don't go around saying Muhammad was a pedo. And see, this is another thing. You make this point that like in Gaza, you would get killed and whatever if you're homosexual. What that is changing the goalposts. So my stance is that it's evil to kill innocent people for no fucking reason. And then instead of addressing that, which would be the logical thing to do, you change the goalpost to they would like for your beliefs, they would hate you. Like, who cares? That's not
Oh,
relevant to what we're talking about.
now they're gonna insult you. You're Dumbo.
Yeah. It's like obvious the how you can predict exactly how they think.
Okay, so Israel lost like 1,200 people, and Gaza lost like 43,000 people. And who's killing innocent people? Even a
Israel
lot of
blew up. Interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, go ahead. Gadwin, I'll kind of
well,
cut
they
you
even
off.
got reports of like Israeli soldiers killing the Israeli people and then trying to blame it on Hamas.
Yeah. So Betty, it sounds like you watch Fox News and don't actually look into like what actually is going on, which means this conversation's kind of a waste because you think you have reality and it's not. It's a bunch of lies.
It's Facebook brain. I'm seeing it with a lot of older people. They just
Yeah.
they get all their information from Facebook memes, and that's their whole knowledge of the world now. And it's
Yeah.
just hate Muslims or hate, the brown people, hate, and they don't know anything of the basis. Like, oh, immigrants are getting free shit.
I don't know about that necessarily. I don't know how that works, but if that's an issue, you can easily remedy that. An LGBTQ suburb. Really? I didn't know that either. So I think what's going on is Betty's trying to run with this low IQ, like generalized thing that all Muslims are extremists that hate all gay people and shit. And they'll point to like Saudi Arabia or some extremist fucking country and then say that all of them do the same thing, which is not even close to being true.
Yeah, like they're talking about wasabiism, which I think Rash knows what that is. It's like the extremist Islam, and that's only like it's like 2% of all of Islam, and Islam's huge, like one of the second largest group in the world.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a very small group of people. That's your ISIS numbers, basically.
I can only speak for myself, but if people are like in an emergency situation and taxpayers have to cover that, I'm okay with it. I don't give a shit if they're legal fucking citizens or not. If people are dying, fucking pay for it. I don't care if it's taken out of my money. Like, I don't get why that's an issue.
We could easily fund these things. It's just,
Well, how much money
greed.
do we throw away to like fucking like Elon Musk? The right like to talk about how fucking the left, like all this welfare shit, the vast majority of welfare is given to corporate interests, not to poor people. Like, if you have a problem with welfare, let's talk about welfare.
Well, that's like I was saying about how companies, they can just lose massive amounts of product and just write it off, and it's at the taxpayer's cost. Like they do this with all kinds of things that like billions of dollars every year.
Yep.
Oh, like places like Walmart, even like they hire mostly handicapped people, people with medical conditions, and the elderly, so they can put life insurance on them, so they can collect $1 million life insurance policy when that employee dies. Like just draconian shit.
It is. But a lot of people just don't think about it at all. It's like to them, it's like that's how it is, that's how it's always been, and that's the best way because that's what we do. And we're America, we're the greatest. So if we do it, it's already the best. Like they don't think critically about anything and how backward shit is.
Well, it's kind of with that American idealism. Like Americans, we have everything. We're the center of the world right now. We're like the Rome of the past. So we're not
In
thinking about
general,
other
yeah.
places. We're not thinking about what's going on in Canada or what's going on in Cambodia and shit like that. Everybody's like wanting to know what's going on in America because everybody kind of wants to come here. So Americans don't really look outward a lot. They don't realize as much of the outer world. They're more focused on what's here already.
Yeah.
Mostly entertainment and bullshit like sports and shit like that.
And that's part of my issue. Like this is considered a massive controversial take. In fact, some right wingers agree with me on this, but a lot of people don't like it. But I believe there should be some sort of fundamental way of checking legitimacy when it comes to voters. Now, some people say that's undemocratic. I don't care. I'm just being honest about what I think. I think that you need to take an aptitude test. You don't have to show that you're like interested in a specific political lean, but you do need to show that you know something about fucking politics. But because I sincerely believe that is what drives the popularity of people like Trump is people that don't know anything. You know how many people I've met that are just like, I've never even really cared about politics until Trump. Now it's like, fuck yeah, USA. And
Oh
I'm like, dude, you don't fucking understand anything.
man,
Like,
I've been laughing at work so hard because I've been talking to some people. So I subtly get people to kind of tell me their political views without really saying much. And it kind of gives me an idea about them. It's, I don't know, profiling people, I guess. But I find all these RFK supporters, and man, I just fucking laugh. I can't help it. I just start fucking laughing in their face.
that's legit. Like, I try not to laugh in people's face, but honestly,
You
if
say
someone came, if
RFK,
someone came on panel and they're like, RFK is the shit because, and they started going into a conspiracy theory, I'd start cracking up too. I can't help it. It's just,
Dude, my
Like,
union rep was like, "Yeah, I wanted RFK," and I was like, "Dude, really? I mean, if you got something like that, we'd have people like Alex Jones, and the moment we got a bunch of conspiracy theorists." And then I laughed and walked the fuck out of the room.
yeah, yeah.
Ah,
It's like people think that I'm just pissed off because Trump won, but that's not it. It's that like you look at his whole like freaking board now, like his what do you call it?
you mean
His
all Fox News?
all of them, every single pick that he's made, there's not one that has any sort of like legitimacy in the position they're in, that know anything about the position that they're taking. And it's like,
Yeah, it's
how
it's
does this happen? Like, why is this okay? Only in
a fucking
America does this
reality
shit
show.
happen. It is. It's sad. Like every single one of them, like fucking who's the girl that got chosen as like the head of intelligence? Tulsi Gabbard. Are you fucking serious?
Well, that guy
She's
is
in a
trying.
cult, dude. Like, what the fuck? She's literally in a cult.
Well, RFK is CDC and healthcare. Oh my, or Health and Human Services.
Yeah, it's like it's like a joke. Like if a comedian were making shit up, they would use these people as a joke, but it's fucking real. And it's like, how the fuck? There's like we were an oligarchy before. Now we are like the definition of an oligarchy. There's more money in this cabinet than there's ever been in the history of any US administration. It's
But there's
all about
also
who has money. That's it.
but there's also more guns in America than there is people.
That's true. Well, what are you saying that to?
Well, I think people once pushed to a certain point, like shit starts breaking down where nobody can afford anything. They're gonna militia up and they're gonna run the rich out of town.
Yes. So the issue, well, if it becomes right versus left rather than like everyone versus rich, and I've said this for years, and it started to change a little bit. The left needs to get over its fucking gun thing because you're not going to get rid of them. It's not going to happen. And if we ever had a civil war, we're not going to do too well. Like I'm just being honest. Like I have guns, but I'm one person, and that like the sheer difference is astounding. Like I'm going to get fucking destroyed.
Oh, there's a lot of liberals with guns. There's
There
a lot of
are.
service members too.
In comparison to the past, it's changing, and that's why I say it's not really that much of a partisan thing anymore. But it's still obviously the right have a. If you were to look at total gun ownership and number of guns, the right are going to win.
Because
Like,
they're more like they feel inferior. That's their inferior complex. They need to have those to feel superior and
mhm.
safe and not, they're big cowards basically.
True, but I don't see any. I don't think there's anything wrong with it personally. Like,
It plays
if
off their fear complex where they're, fight flight. You get
that's
told
true.
immigrants and all this shit all the time. So therefore they're more inclined to want to buy guns because of things that makes them safer in turn. And really it's just going to be bad probably because once they pass away, those guns are going to get sold off to who knows who at what, and things are going to get done with them. And
Yeah. Well, I'm completely honest, and I agree with you, and even say that like the whole deal behind guns, unless you're just a hobby collector that thinks they're cool, is fear, and that's true. But I would say just for myself, I don't think that's necessarily a negative thing in this circumstance because we live in a country where like I live in a state to where they literally the Supreme Court got rid of all background checks and shit for at least for anything outside of
handgun.
concealed carry. So you don't need anything. And so everyone got them. So I'm like, fuck you. I'm getting a gun. Like, I'm not going to be the only person in the area. You know how many dumbass people will just shoot you for no fucking reason or just try to steal your shit
Well,
or whatever? And
did you see all those reports there for a while? There was a black kid. His sister was at a friend's house and he was there to pick her up. He knocked on the wrong house door. The old man gets up, comes to
oh,
the door
yeah,
and just shoots him. The
I
kid
saw
goes to
that.
the next house. They deny him. He goes to the next house. They deny him. He gets to the third house. They tell him to lay on the ground and treat him like he was a criminal until the EMT got there.
What the fuck? No, I heard something similar to that, but not this story. That's crazy.
The kid lived. I mean, it was fucked up though. I mean, the guy got put in jail for it. And then there's another guy that shot a car of girls that were just, they pulled into a driveway and turned around, and he just came out and just started shooting at him and killed the girl.
Damn. Yeah,
Right
this is
winger again.
that's the whole point. Like when you have a country that's that extreme, I feel like, and I'm just speaking for myself, like if you can't beat them, you got to join them. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck am I gonna do? I'm not gonna fucking have some dude fucking shoot my ass. I need some damn protection.
My father's the same way. Like I went to visit him twice, just randomly. I was like, "Oh, I'm in the area. Hey, I'll swing over and see my dad real quick." Pulled up there, and I seen him at the side. He has a fucking revolver with him. Like he's gonna. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, fucking pussy?"
Well, I
But I
will
ain't gonna take
be.
my
I
kids
will
there like
be.
randomly.
I will say that a lot of people have this like John Wayne fantasy or hero complex that they think that like someone's gonna pull a gun on them, and then they're what do you think's gonna happen if someone's pointing a gun at you? You're not gonna go get yours. You
Nope.
think they're gonna let you walk away? Like
I've had a 45 put to my head.
yeah,
I can tell you that story. That's a pretty funny story.
and you're not gonna pull your gun in response because that would be stupid.
Well, I
Like,
didn't have
I
a
had a
gun.
gun held to my head too.
I
was
wouldn't do
drunk with a
shit.
friend.
I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah, well, actually, a friend of mine, he came over and one night he was bored, and he's like, "Hey, you want to go shoot deer?" Or we just used to just drive around, just drink beer, and just get high, and then look see if we saw deer. Mostly spotting, but he had his rifle along. He says he'd shoot him, but I don't know. I never seen him do it. And we're just driving around, and one night we went to his uncle's farm, and we started pushing these big round bales with his. It's like an old Oldsmobile, big old boat car, and we just pushed around bale and watch it go down the hill, and it would hit some trees and go up the trees, and we're like, "Ah, it's cool," and everything. Did like 2 of them the first time, didn't think much of it. Second time we went back out there, we got bored again. We started getting into it. We're all hooting and hollering. We pushed one, and then we cut down around it, went down past, cut in front of it. And then we're pushing another one, and the car started bouncing in the front, and I saw it was catching the bumper, and it caught the bumper and flipped us in the field at like 3 a.m.
Damn.
We both kind of come to her in the back seat, man. It threw us right in the back. The rifle, whatever beer was with us, everything is in the back.
Crazy
And
shit.
we got the window open, fucking crawled out the back window. There was 2 beers left. Drank those as we walked down the field, put the gun in his uncle's truck. And I was like, "Hey, do you got a skidder?" I was thinking we could just flip it over like a little skid loader. He was like, "Yeah, we got one." And so he puts the gun in his uncle's truck, and we walk back in the woods. Well, here's a big giant fucking log skidder. I'm like, "No, like a little skidder." He's like, "Well, we'll just use this." I'm like, "Oh my God." He's like, "Hey, there's no lights on it. You got to get up on the roof. Here's flashlight." I crawl up on the roof of this like thing. It's like 15 feet up in the air, laying on the roof of it with the flashlight. He fires it up. Huge fucking diesel engine in this thing. I bet everybody in the county heard the sucker fire up at 3 a.m. he starts it up, and it's articulated, so it starts bending in the middle, and I just start flailing all over the fucking place on the roof. We start going through the woods, and he starts driving up the damn road. Well, he's pretty drunk too, so he starts veering off the side. It runs over the fucking neighbor's mailbox. I'm like, "Dude, over here!" I'm like waving the flashlight for where he needs to go. Get it back on the road. He goes up, cuts into the field, and he sees a hay bale. Well, what's he do? He tries to push it with the fucking log skidder. Fucker drives up over the fucking bale, gets stuck in the middle.
The fuck?
I like hang down over the cab. I'm like, "Dude, this is enough now. Enough with the fucking hay bales." I'm like shaking the flashlight at him. Gets up off the hay bale, gets up to his car. I'm like, "Dude, let me down. I want the fuck off here." I get down off the roof, and I stand there, and then he drives up around his car, brings the boom up on the front of the skidder, and just smashes his fucking car. I see this truck and lights coming up to the field. I'm like, "Oh shit." And this truck comes circling up. I just kind of back slinked away into the woods a little bit. Truck comes up, 45 wave. "What the fuck are you doing?" Grabs a hold of my friend Josh, rips him right out of the fucking logs here. "You alone?" He's like, "No, my buddy Josh is here." Points to me, and I'm like, "Oh shit." His fucking uncle comes waving there, puts the 45 right to my head. He's like, "Give me your ID right now, boy. You're 21. You're the one that buying alcohol for my nephew. I'm shooting you dead right here, right now. Fucking pull my ID out, fucking hand it to him. He sits there and does the math. I'm thinking, you better do the math right, motherfucker, because I'm 19.
You've been through some crazy shit.
Hands me my ID back, and he's like, sit down right there. And well, I didn't sit at first. He started yelling at his nephew again. And he turned back around, waved the fucking gun. He's like, I said, sit the fuck down. No, I sat the fuck down. After a little talking, he's like, all right, get in the truck. He's like, where do you live? And he took me home. And I went in, sat in the recliner. I was like, wow, what a fucking night. My other friend, Josh, he got the shit beat out the next day by his dad. He said he was in bed. And his dad just comes in, grabbed him by the neck, threw him down the fucking stairs, and just started beating his ass.
A collection of countries from Kazakhstan to Afghanistan, right in the heart of Central Asia.
Someone
Good
watching
times.
some news? Sounds like some good times. By the way, I agree with Home basically on the mental issue deal and guns. I think there need to be more background checks, and they need to be allowed to cover more things. Like, I think they should be able to dig into everything, including social media and shit. If you really want a gun, then you should be having nothing to hide. In fact, they should look at me when I went up there, and they should have pulled up my YouTube and went, no, fuck you. Fuck you. You're not having a fucking gun.
Like tied to a social score. So like if you're a good person, you're not like saying hateful shit like that. You'll have a high social score, and therefore you'd be allowed to have one. You're not a threat.
I don't know. The whole social
should marijuana smokers be able to get guns if you get marijuana?
I don't think
Yeah, why not?
marijuana should count against you, because if anything, it makes you less violent. Like,
I mean, if you drink alcohol, should you be allowed to have a gun? Because alcohol's
there's
involved with a lot
there's
of
already
violence.
some law, like in this state,
You
you're
know,
not
that's
allowed
a good
to have
question.
a gun when you're under the influence. If you have even a drop of alcohol in your system and you have a gun, it's illegal. And I agree with that. I completely agree with that law.
Yeah.
Would you agree the same for marijuana?
No, because there's no correlation between marijuana use and violence.
Marijuana
there is
makes you
for
a
alcohol.
pacifist.
I'm just asking. Yeah, I mean, alcohol. I mean, shit, that's a whole different story there.
Mhm.
That brings out the worst in people, most violence and stuff like that. That's why police actually like it.
Look,
Well, that and the
let me
horror
make
things.
one more comment, and then I'll be quiet a minute. I read something on the side chat, like to the effect, a gun is like one man to another, and one man shouldn't be able to take another man's life. It should be a community decision. Somebody made that sort of comment in chat, and I just wanted to ask Rash because it brought up this memory, like he said, community. Every once in a while, when I lived in Indonesia, you'd hear a story about somebody stealing a motorcycle and basically a mob killing them. I heard it at least twice in 4 years. Like, in other words, like out in a rural community, they had a mob's rule mentality when it came to stealing somebody's motorbike. I'm just wondering if you ever heard of that, Rash.
Community justice.
Yeah. Rash, you can't hear me?
If you don't know, he's using a whiteboard because he has bad internet connection, so he's writing his response right now. You'll have to see it.
Oh. I mean, I can see, in that situation, but like I said, it's just a mob rules thing, and just, I don't know. Mob justice.
He's heard similar.
I think it's society.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with it. It's a different mentality. I'm not saying better or worse, but hey, the problem was over. Guy got his motorbike back. Problem was taken care of.
True. I do believe that the punishment should fit the crime, though. I don't care what it is. Stealing something should not get you murdered, in my opinion. If you ran over a kid, you don't stop. What the hell?
Shit, I had a chicken and I didn't stop. A chicken would have been like a $500 chicken all of a sudden. But yeah, drums over there. A little motorbike's a lot, man. It could have been somebody's whole fucking livelihood. You know, it's a
I could
little
see
bit
that.
different.
The villagers would kill you. So I think
Yeah,
that happens
exactly.
as a
Exactly, right.
natural response, though. So when you're in an impoverished area, people don't have much. So everything they do have is like integral to their livelihood. So I think that they will create that sort of mob mentality and look out for one another, and they'll fucking murder someone if that happens for that reason.
Right. I think you can get fucked up even from being in a traffic accident. Like, you ran into somebody. That shit can go sour too. I was warned of that before I moved over there. Like, if you get in an accident, do not get out the vehicle. You have a driver, It's like you do not get out of the vehicle if you bump into somebody. Because basically, you have to, like I used to carry blood money, I called it. So, you carry around, a few $100s. That way, if you bump into somebody, it's like, here, bro, here's $100. Get you another bumper and go out to dinner.
Or well, here another thing. If you're like in the city, like you know how you keep your wallet in your front pocket instead, but keep like some loose money, like 20s or $30 in your other pocket. That way, if somebody tries to
Yeah.
hold you up, like, hey, here's $30, man, that's all I got, and just hand them the money you have in your pocket. They'll take that.
You always have extra. You always have small bills for tips, cabs, and whatever, because you're gonna run into that whole "I don't have any change," thing. You always have small bills. When some country, well, in general.
Mal, I think that it's a complicated thing. This is something you brought up a little bit before. But I think that it hasn't been worked out because there's so much division, and also the NRA is extraordinarily powerful as a lobbying arm in the government. And they're very smart. They don't just throw money. They have created like community. They throw like really huge, especially in rural areas. They throw like massive like community get-togethers and shit, and they kind of tie identity into it, and it's very smart. So it's part of why it's not going anywhere. Not in this country.
They
I don't
created
see
a
it
culture.
exactly, and it's smart. You could call it evil to an extent, depending on how you view it, but regardless, it's intelligent.
If you could get people to understand that NRA is tied to like massive gun profits from all the gun manufacturers and ammo manufacturers, and like that's where they're getting all their money from, and then most of that's coming from scaring the populace into buying more guns and ammo. Because that's what Fox is. Fox is
Well,
like scare them into buying more guns.
Yeah, as far as guns go, I mean, is there a saturation level? I mean, are we reaching that point, or are people going to just keep buying and buying?
There's 450 million guns in America, and there's 340 million people.
Right. That's why I ask about saturation. I mean, does it just, or are there enough nuts out there that are going to just keep buying more and more?
Well, they're not that expensive either. They're only like $1,200-$1,300 for like a AR style rifle.
I mean, they last longer than a freaking toaster or a TV, I mean, why would you understand what I'm trying to say? At some point, you would think sales would peak out and either,
it's not like you're getting rid of them.
Start going down, actually.
Well, because they're lobbyists, they always find a way to capitalize on any situation. When Obama didn't even say that he was wanted to take guns away. All he was looking to do was like add some stipulations to like background checks and shit. And then the right, because of the NRA's funding, went crazy and went, Obama's trying to take your guns, and gun sales went through the roof. And that's just one example, but always this happens. It'll happen under Trump too. I guarantee it. Wait and see. There will be some reason.
I think it happens. Under. I don't think the party matters or whatever.
It doesn't. You're right. Yeah, I
It's
agree.
like it's a scare tactic, I guess, to improve sales. I don't know, but I remember specifically with Obama, there was a gun scare and like, oh, we're gonna run out of weapons and stuff like that. Fuck. I don't know, man.
But the thing is, if you look at history, Reagan, he banned full automatic and AR style weapons after he was shot. And then Bush let the
Yeah,
assault weapon ban
dude.
expire in 2003, and that's why we're seeing this boom of
Look. You
assault
use
rifles.
the term, I'm gonna have to go. What the fuck is AR style mean? What's a fucking AR style weapon?
Oh, I forget what it's called. It's hang on.
Dude, it's a pretty broad spectrum. I mean, fuck. I can
No, there's an
understand
actual.
them. I can understand the automatic weapons thing, actually.
Well, that's already how it's been forever. Like automatic weapons are not legal. But
Right.
I personally,
Armor
I
light,
kind
that's
of
it.
agree that
Armor light rifle.
Armalite.
Yep, that's what AR stands for. Armor light rifle.
Right, which is what, a brand or something, huh?
Armor. Oh, I thought that was just AR stands for Armor Light, the name of the company that developed the AR-15 rifle in the 1950s.
Yes,
Right.
now it's used as a catch-all, just like Play-Doh is known for like
There you
anything
go.
that's
There
like
you go.
that.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. AR style, that's kind of a pretty loose term. I just, it used to be AR, right?
Well, Bushmaster is styled after the AR style, so they're stylized
So,
after. It's like copying the
well,
brand.
my
That's what
reason I
makes it
bring that up
inspired.
is because let's say this now. I gotta go do something for a minute. I see on the media AR style or we just want a ban on AR style rifle. Well, what does that include? I mean,
No one needs
what does that
any
include?
AR style
Does
to
that
hunt.
include Grandpa's 30-06? Does it have to
No.
have a wood tone? Does it have to have a wood tone? I think they already got rid of the pistol grip. What the fuck's wrong with a pistol grip? I don't know. Anyway, look, I'll be listening, but I got to do something. I'm listening.
All right, it's all good.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna be listening. I'm just mute myself.
Okay.
I think it has a lot to do with the gas-powered center system, the firing mechanism, and all that, how it works. Because it traps gas from every time you fire a shell, and then uses that to eject it and reset the system, basically. And then it has all the attachment slots and everything on the grips and all that. They are style, a tactical.
I don't know a whole lot about this, so I can't really add much
All
to
these,
it.
if you want a gun for home protection, you want a shotgun, hands up, down.
That's true.
You get a shotgun with buckshot. Nobody's. I mean, you could just point at a doorway and you're hitting everything in that doorway.
Yep. You're gonna do some damage to your home, but that's better than dying.
Yep.
So I
Nobody's
agree
gonna
with
fuck
you.
with you.
For me, it's admittedly emotional. I like pistols. It's not about anything else. It's that I love pistols. I like the concept. I think it's ever since Patrick's shotgun. I think ever since I watched Face Off, I fucking love like the dual pistol thing. I don't know why.
Until it jams on you.
Do what?
Now, how often do you fire yours? Do you go down to the range at all and just
Not
couple
a
clips
whole
through it?
lot. Normally I go to my uncle and aunt's house because they live out like in the more rural area where it's legal, and I shoot there maybe like once every half year or so.
Yeah, I say getting muscle memory down too, where you have the muscle memory, just you can do it basically in the dark, eyes closed.
Right.
I mean,
So I do dry firing for that to some extent, but one part of it is I'm a very frugal person. I'm not going to throw a bunch of ammunition's expensive.
oh
So
yeah.
I don't just go shooting all the damn time.
That's what I like. 22 pistols. When I was growing up, my friend he had a 22 Luger, 22 caliber little Luger. That was a fun little pistol. Just go in the backyard. We shot clay pigeons a lot back there too. Him and his dad did. I
Hell
love
yeah.
shooting clay pigeons.
I've never done that. Sounds fun.
You get you just one of those things that just you're like, "Ah, I don't know," and then you start just fucking shooting shit, and you just get all excited and giddy and just have a good time.
Betty seems to be like a hardcore racist. Like all of their points seem to be about poverty and black people and crime and like
You grew up
trying
with the
to.
name Betty once. Hey, Betty.
So he or she is trying to make a point based on like taking data and like massaging it to fit the narrative. It tends to be what they do.
Well, like we were talking about in the Blade Runner chat before we came here, is like so many people don't understand that race is not necessarily what we even think it is. It's just
Right.
there's just the human race, and that's it. There's
Well,
mutations of the humans, but we're all humans.
if you're
Same
talking
race.
about the technical definition for race, yes, it's not a thing really. Like there's only one human race. But
Yep.
what they mean when they say it, what they want to say is ethnicity, and that's what they're trying to get at. It's just it's not
And
correct.
it's basically just different mutations. I don't like your
Right.
mutations.
Basically, it's very silly. It's it.
Because like black people here in America don't have African history or anything like that. They have none of that culture. They're American culture. Their
Mhm.
culture is America, just like my culture is America. Like we're all humans in the same culture for the most part. The only thing that seems like we're like KKK and I disagree on is just how much melanin's in your fucking skin.
Right. Why are black neighborhoods so unsafe? Because of racism. Get a clue.
No,
Well,
that's called tribalism.
to a large extent, yes, actually, racism drove it to that point. So a lot of people like to make the case that black people don't have any sort of negative shit in these days. Now, for one, that's not true. But even if it were true, we would still see poor black neighborhoods and there would be more crime and everything because that's what happens with poverty and everywhere in the world. It's not even about black people, it's about poverty, period.
Yep.
But the point is systemic like fucking inequality doesn't stop after a generation or something. Like slavery wasn't that long ago. And you think that after like this brief little period of time, like all of a sudden everything's equal? Like that's sad. That's hilarious that someone would even think that. Not to mention, even after fucking slavery and everything, we had redlining and all sorts of like systemic fucking racist policies that purposefully targeted black people and kept them poor and in shitty neighborhoods. So that is why those things are all the things you're talking about have legitimate explanations. And no, it's not because they're black. That's stupid.
Well, and a lot of it's like the Jim Crow shit. They forced all the people in the ghettos and then basically put liquor stores and gun shops on every corner and then
Yep.
pulled out all the jobs and then was like, hey, there's crime here now. Oh, no shit. Everybody's destitute poor and there's nothing but gun shops and liquor stores.
Yep.
Yeah, the ghetto is just an open air prison. That's all it was. And they knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, hell, even the war on drugs, all of it is like bullshit excuses for racism. It's like they wanted to target black people, and they found out that they chose the drugs specifically because they were more likely to be consumed by black people. It's why they did it. Like,
look
even go ahead.
The Tuskegee experiments where they affected black men with syphilis and then just watched them die. They had the cure for it. They just wanted to see how they died.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. That's another one of those things that was a conspiracy theory and it ended up being true, like MK Ultra.
Yep.
The amount of fucked up shit we've done, even just to our own people, it's fucking crazy.
We deserve the government we elect.
I don't know, like to some extent I agree, but there's a lot of people just don't know shit about shit, and they're easily fucking swayed by emotional appeals. Like, for example, Trump, and he just made up lies and went, all of your problems, the prices of groceries, all this shit is and he made up a boogeyman. That's what these like fascist people tend to do. They need an enemy. And the enemy that Trump chose is illegal immigrants. Like, even
Trans
though
people.
and trans people, and none of the evidence points toward these trans people or illegal immigrants causing the problems that he claims they're causing. But everyone just buys it, and they're like, yeah. And then they just jump on board because they want something to blame their problems on.
Yep.
And well, the actual, like, they don't want to look into the actual reasons that the problems are there. Like, for example, with the economy, big part of it is price gouging and price fixing. And we've talked about it before. That's a fact. But if you look into what causes the problems, that's the biggest driver, and that's corporate greed.
The lack of critical thinking is the biggest killer of democracy.
It really is. And that's why I think that we need to have voting tied to some sort of aptitude test, not like intelligence, because I don't want it to where like only smart people can vote. That would be kind of crazy. But you need to know something. You need to show, like, this is what we do for our citizenship test, by the way. And I'm fine with that. Why don't we do that for voting? Like, we should make it to where people fucking know something about politics before they vote. Otherwise, they're likely to get like these dumb emotional appeals that Trump does. They work because people don't know anything.
Do you think that would be acceptable? You don't think people would start screaming at you that there's a intelligence requirement to vote?
Not intelligence. I'm letting home aerobic up, so things might go crazy.
What kind of test?
Hello.
So an aptitude test, not about intelligence. I was very clear, and that's not what I mean. I mean,
What does
knowing,
aptitude measure?
understanding politics. It's not about like you're on the left or you're on the right. It's that you need to know what politics is. You need to know what the government does. Like, basic things, I think,
like three
need to be
branches
understood.
of government.
Yes,
What-
like
Okay, yeah, some
basic
basic
stuff.
governmental understanding. Okay, that's cool.
Because if not, then we've got people who are just, they get led by emotion constantly, and they don't know anything, and they fuck over the whole rest of the country, in my opinion, like unknowingly.
Enlightened morons.
Useful idiots.
What it's like. all
And
their
by the way, that
information comes
happens
from
on both
Facebook.
sides. That happens on
Oh,
both
yeah.
sides. This isn't even a partisan thing. Like, there are leftists that are like, yeah, fuck racism. I'll vote for anything because I hate racism. And they don't know anything about politics. And
Well, yeah. Let me say one more thing, then I'll shut up. I'll leave the floor. I heard something tonight. I think Traub said it, and I think Gadwin said it. And I just want to bring this up. Y'all both said black when describing, I guess, people with guns or something. I've been to a chat where if you say something like that, they flip out.
well, I didn't make that claim. I was actually talking to someone in chat that was making that claim. I was reading what they were saying, in other words.
Okay. Well, this is the way I look at it. I see somebody saying black is a descriptor. I live like in a 60% black city. Sometimes I'm talking to somebody and I say, yeah, well, this black motherfucker or this black dude or this black chick.
Yeah, I do that
we
too.
talk.
I do that too.
Yeah,
That,
just
there's
white
nothing
or
wrong with
black,
that.
I think.
So this is where I tend to jump in. So if someone is just using black and they're talking about like crime, whatever, if we're talking about crime or whatever, that is the purpose of the conversation. I'm not going to call you a racist for making a point, but like Betty, and this is the whole reason why I brought it up, they bring it up out of nowhere, which shows their intent. That they're not trying to make a point that black people cause more crime and whatever, and we need to discuss this because we're talking about crime. They're just trying to be racist for the sake of being racist, and they're looking for an excuse to bring it up. Like, that's the problem.
Look, like, okay, so let me finish my point. So to me, some people look for racism in my mind where there is none. Because what happened to me is I was in a chat, I get around, ever since we broke up from Space Chat, I get around. But I said, well, who makes more money? Asians or white people? It's Asians. And man, this one person well, what's it matter? What's it matter? And I'm like, It's a statistical fact. I'm trying to make a point. Facts, facts matter.
Well, actually,
I'm making
the
a,
richest man's African. The richest man in the world's African. Elon
I'm
Musk is
sorry,
from
what was
Africa.
that again? Say that
The
again,
richest man in the world is an African man, and Elon Musk is from South Africa.
Right. Well, so just to keep, right. Just to keep it a little bit more, just say American or whatever. Like I said, I don't even like the being closely called a racist. If I bring a statistical fact up that involves Asians and Americans, I'm making a legitimate factual comparison. I'm not
Right.
being racist.
So exactly what I said still applies. It's all about perceived intent. So you specifically, and I'm only talking about myself here. I don't speak for everyone. I haven't seen you to be a racist person. Not
Well,
directly.
thank you.
No.
So, but it depends that if you're bringing up a point, I'm not automatically going to go, you're racist. I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't see
It
Andy
depends
being
on
racist
why.
because where he lives. Now, I've seen racists like where I came from. There was one black guy in our whole community, and he was adopted. And like, I've seen people show up at my sister's for Halloween parties dressed in fucking KKK outfits and shit like that, like flying
Yeah.
KKK flags, rebel flags. Like, I've seen what racists are. They're just white trash motherfuckers.
Right. And people say, my point, part of my whole point is I think people look for racism. Not only, is there,
Some do.
which I think is hidden racism. You're
It's
trying to find
learned from the
racism in
parents.
me.
It comes from
Sometimes
the
that
parents.
happens. I'll agree that happens sometimes. I don't think it's
That's
always
my
the
only
case.
point. It was kind of
Yeah.
like, damn, man, you're trying to control my speech. Now I'm not being offensive. You're just being offended.
Right. That does happen.
Anyway, all right, I'm going to step back.
That virtual signal shit where you have everybody getting offended for everybody else nowadays.
And that's where I can agree with quote woke being an issue on certain extremes. Who was that?
Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey popped in and dropped for some reason. Might be having technical issues. By the way, home, if you want to say anything, if you got anything to add, feel free.
I just wanted to talk about the fires in LA and
Okay.
the absolute state of it with the DEI hires, the woke infestation.
I don't think it has anything to do with that, but go ahead.
In what sense?
I think that the DEI thing is just a joke. Like, I even made a video on it. Like, people are like, Fox News tried to make this thing that like it's about DEI and why that's a failure because the head firefighter or whatever the title is a lesbian female. She actually, if you look back at her information, she's like the definition of merit. She worked all the way from like volunteer firefighter all the way up. There's like 7 titles in between. She wasn't just like, oh, it's a lesbian, let's make her. Like, that didn't happen.
But that's not the only.
Sounds like she wrote.
That's not the only. That's not the only argument, though. That's just one part of it.
Okay, sorry. So continue. I'll let you do your whole thing, and then anyone can address it.
That same lesbian made it her mission to only recruit certain types of people as firefighters. To like diversify the firefighting, and then you've also got to take into account the incompetence.
So how would a man running this done any different? Like, so these are unprecedented times. So
no, it's not. It's not about her being a woman. It's about it was her choice.
So events that are going on or something that's never happened. We never had the Santa Ana winds come this direction, and
why is there no water? Why is there no water?
Because you gotta think of all the houses. So how the water pressure system works, how it spans out across the whole system, and when
but why are the reservoirs empty?
And by the way, this isn't new. Like, all of a sudden we're getting talk about the water. That's been a problem in California for like 4 or 5 years. Like, it's not.
I know, but you cannot seriously.
This is their wet season, and they're pretty much right now.
Yes,
There is no
they've had the
wet
most.
season
They've
in
had the
Southern
most
California.
rainfall in the last 12 months, but the reservoirs are
north,
empty.
up north, up at the very top, and that mostly runs into the ocean.
So
We need more.
you've
we
got
need
you've
more
got something that
capture.
happens every year without fail. There's always fires in
Well, it's
California
mostly
every year.
in the summer, not in January, in the rainy season. Right now, they should be getting downpoured with rain, and the Santa Ana winds usually always blew up and around the Santa Ana mountains. Now it's
Right,
blowing
but if
into
you're
the
looking at
city
it from
and
an
actually
outside
pushing the
perspective,
fire through the
there's
city.
been no prevention at all. There was
That's my thing.
unprepared,
No prevention.
lack of
No
firefighters.
preventative
They've got prisoners putting out fires.
If you have wind directions that have changed that have always blown one way and now are all of a sudden blowing
Clean up the
fire
fucking brush.
through,
Clean up the fucking brush.
it's burning the suburbs, Andy. It's not the forest
The
necessarily.
brush.
It's
The
burning through
brush.
the
The
suburbs.
fucking forest management. What's so fucking funny?
They're in a drought, so right now everything's just dry. It's like a tinder box. All the trees are dried out. All the brush, the vegetation's all
Yeah,
dead.
all that fucking
mean,
tinder they leave on the fucking
Yeah,
forest
they left it
floor.
there.
Do you know how they usually take care of that? They wait till the rainy season and then they
Well, they
burn
don't,
it.
do they? Because
They
there's
used to
fires
burn it.
every year.
They need to do
can't.
shit today.
They're
They
in a
fucking
drought.
dude, this is a fucking business for them. They want this shit.
I don't see that, but I believe.
Then why don't they
honestly,
do something,
I don't think
Krabs?
it has
Then why don't they
anything.
take some action?
I'm about to explain, or at least my take on it is, I sincerely believe that it does not matter whether it's a red, blue, whatever state, and this, if they have the conditions that California has environmentally, if a fire breaks out, there's not a fucking thing you can do. You're fucked.
Is that the
No matter
excuse?
what.
So is that the excuse for the past fucking 20 years?
What do you
look
mean?
at Vegas with the dam.
Dude, this shit happens all the fucking time.
That's my
This
point.
isn't
You can't.
anything new.
This is my point. Like, we like to think that as humans we can solve every. Mother Nature's a
Right.
bitch, and there's not much you can do about this situation. Like,
So at least
wait. So you're looking at that situation in LA, and you can't see any negligence there.
Other
I
than the
I
mayor
can see.
disappearing.
Yeah, that's an issue. But also, like, who's to blame? Like, about the water deal. So we've had water issues for many years. We already knew about it. It's a problem there.
Well, and
but
having a
also
system
the
is
firefighters. It is not the firefighters' job to put the water in there. Like, people keep putting it as
No,
if
but the responsibility falls on someone.
oh,
The
for
chief
sure.
should know something. I would think the chief would know the availability.
They probably should. I agree with that, but I don't know if they
She
do or not.
didn't. She's on the news saying she don't know. I don't know.
From what I saw, she was actually just saying, like, we don't control the water, and we think when we go there, we expect there to be water in the hydrants, and there wasn't, and that's not on us. That's all I heard from her.
Yeah, exactly. Something of that
Hey,
nature.
did you also know that FEMA are broke because they spent all their money on housing illegals?
FEMA's another fucking joke.
I don't believe that.
Look it up. Look it up on your internet.
Okay. So
They spent millions housing illegals.
Let me ask this. Okay, so Travis, the last time I saw you, I talked a bit about the argumentative process. Travis, if you were the king of California and you wanted to stop wildfires, what steps would you take? What would you do other than nothing? Like, you're the master. You can tell them, look, I'm tired of this shit. What would you propose?
okay, say that again. I'm distracted. Go ahead.
What would you
If you were the king of California and you wanted to stop the forest fires, what kind of proposition would you have? What measures would you say? Okay, look, guys, I'm tired of these fucking fires. Do something or you're out. What would you propose that they do?
This is the point that I already made. No matter where you live, there's nothing you're going to do to just stop forest fires, especially in a location like California.
Right.
You can't do anything about it.
You have nothing to say like, oh, I'm tired of these fires burning up my forest. Do something to fucking pay the price. You have nothing you can.
Well,
I'm not going to say it works.
I would try to like find ways to make it more safe,
Mitigate it.
but that's what they
Like what?
do.
Like
They
what? Can you
already
come up
do
with
that.
an example?
Andy,
Well,
Can you give me an example?
well, I
Andy,
don't know. For one,
here in
like
PA, we've been in drought for the last about
I'm not
7
worried
years
about that.
now.
I'm just asking. I'm
We are
asking
starting
about
to have forest
preventative
fires here
measures.
now.
That's all I'm asking.
Last summer,
Preventative
we had a
measures.
big one.
so.
No
Speaking
fucking
for my
answers.
speaking
All I- look,
speaking for
Danny,
myself.
look, I'm gonna shut up and listen. I'm curious about preventative measures.
So I don't know is the actual answer. So if I were a leader of like California, I
Right.
wouldn't pretend like I
Right.
know everything. I would defer to the judgment of officials
Okay,
that
you
are over
uh-huh.
that are yes, but that's what you should do. You can't pretend like you
So
know
right
everything.
now, you as a human being, a man, right now speaking to me on the internet, you have no idea what you could do to help prevent these fires. You don't have a clue. You would have to
Yeah, well,
defer
We
to
can't
somebody.
control the climate, Andy.
I'm not talking
We
about
can't
climate.
control that. That's what this is
Look,
evolving
I'm
here.
looking
That's
for
the
an
reason
answer. I'm
for
not
this.
looking for
That's
blame.
the cause.
I'm not looking for. Okay, look. Let me ask you this: with cleaning up the forest floor help? I don't care what
No.
percentage. Would it
What are
fucking
you gonna do?
help?
Go out there with people with rakes and do what? Make a big fucking leaf pile?
Yeah, no, you take it and you can burn the shit. Fucking do
Because of
something with it.
but Andy,
We could use
because
it
the
here.
lack.
Chuck it
Would you
all over
listen?
here and throw it in the fucking
Listen.
in the marsh.
Hey, yeah, you ain't gonna do that. Because of the lack of the rain for the last almost 20 years now, they've been in drought. Even the whole Midwest of the United States is in
I'm looking
fucking
for
drought.
answers, not
Things
reasons.
have dried
Thanks.
out. Usually,
Mel.
water would help
Thanks,
break
but
down
no
the vegetation
solution.
that would
No
be
solutions.
broken down into soil. But because of that
No
lack of
solution.
rain, things aren't breaking down as they should, and now they've become just basically a tinderbox. And
Okay, not enough water, but bring in more illegals. We don't have enough water.
What's
Let's
that
strain
got
it
to
more.
do with
Okay,
that?
I got you. No answer on the prevention, and just keep abusing the water. Okay.
well,
Okay,
there's
populations keep growing. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, every fifth person shoot them or something?
Do something. Hey, let me ask you this, Cadwin. You heard about the smelt or something?
Yes, the schmelt, the little fish. Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
find it stupid, but
What do you feel about that?
I feel people should be actually pushed more away from living in California. Maybe given some kind of.
Does it have to do with the smelt fish?
Probs, did you see this Homeland Security warning in the private chat?
no. Hold on just a second. I'm having issues here. I swapped to Firefox and there seems to be some sort of issue where it won't let me display just a tab. I'm trying to share the FEMA response still.
Okay,
So
well, that'll give Cadwin time to tell me about his feelings on the smell.
So I've pulled up several different things. I can't share it right now because of what I just mentioned, but there's
I've just put it in the back chat. Read it. Read it.
In the back chat.
Let's see, what the fuck is that picture?
Hold on. Yes.
Looks like a cross between an asshole and a nipple.
This is what I'm referring to. So Alejandro Mayorkas is set off the outrage. However, fact checkers have determined that these claims were false. They were pushed by Trump, and there was no FEMA disaster funds given to migrants at all.
That water declaration bullshit Trump made up too, that was all a lie.
Okay, yeah. Cadwin, please tell me about your feelings about the smell. What's going on with the smell?
It's some native fish species that they're all worried about, and it's going to go fucking extinct anyway. I don't know why we're wasting resources.
Right, I agree with that. So what's it doing to the water? What's it do to the water that they could use on the forest?
It just prevents them from building anything. So no dams, nothing like that to do anything. You basically can't fuck with anything.
So it lowers water resources.
Well, it restricts like water retention. So if they were to put a dam that could hold back, how many millions of gallons.
Which would be a resource. Water's a resource. So we're doing it for this little fish or whatever that should just be. We should just let them die out. Catch them all and have a fish fry or something.
I think it's controlled by Parks and Recreation, so you'd have to get something through them to get change done. I mean,
Well,
there's ways
then I
to get
say
around
they're
it, but-
fucked up too. They're fucked up, and the Forest Service fucked up. How about that?
Well,
Dude,
they used to be kept kind of
let the
separate.
fish go extinct. We're fucking burning. Let the fish go extinct.
But
I'm gonna
okay,
get
a
off
lot.
of here so other people can
Okay,
talk
calm down.
later.
Okay, like
So much
a
for getting a sound check.
a lot of the problem is a lot of LA's water comes from the Hoover Dam. So
All right,
at the Hoover.
Australian.
Good day, Mike.
Read that in the back, Trobs. That's what you're talking about.
Hold on. FEMA also claims it has not allocated money to illegal aliens over American citizens. FEMA's fact-check page states disaster relief fund money has not been diverted to other non-disaster related efforts, but this claim is a dodge at best. It does not address the main concern that his administration has granted over $1 billion to organizations that provide illegal aliens with transportation and housing services, instead of using that money for disaster relief. FEMA's effort to side. So I need to find out where. Can you give me the link to where this came from?
Yeah, 1 second.
I mean, 1.4 billion isn't really shit, though. Let's see. How much was the FEMA budget this year?
Of course, it's from the Heritage Foundation, but I'm checking into it here. Brandy Perez. They do have some sources. That's good. So I'll have to dig into the sources and see. So I'm not going to be able to do this like on live stream. I can't. I have too much ADHD. I'm going to have to like go over this and see if the sources check out and everything. I can't.
I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on with these migrants all over Europe and America. Why aren't they just being told to fuck off? Why?
Well-
why are they getting housed? Why are they getting treated
Well,
like they're owed something?
You're misled on a lot, like how that's gone. Like,
So from my point of view, and again, I may be wrong, and if I find out that I'm wrong, then I'll probably have issues too. But like from what I've been digging up, none of that is even true. They're not.
It is
given
true.
Any money?
There's videos
at
of
all.
it. There's videos of Haitians in fucking fully furnished houses.
oh yeah,
The
we've
kids
got
have got
Haitians here.
school.
So
They're in Civil War right
Why?
now.
there is a lot of money that's getting put. So one thing that happens is like, what are they called? Like non organizations that just basically exist for charity. They give money to like immigrants and stuff, and then people turn it into the government. No, the government didn't give anybody shit.
Well, and right now Haitians actually get a declaration basically because they're refugees. Because Haiti is in a civil war right now. Haiti completely fucking broke down and just straight up 3 gangs right now are just basically fighting over the country. And so now they get some declaration basically. That's why we're accommodating them for the time. That's about it. Once their shit's solved, they're like, "Words, get on the boat, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, well, it'll be a big mistake in the long run.
No, it's not a real big deal. It's a
You
drop in
can't
the bucket.
can't import people from backwards cultures and expect them to be fucking model citizens. It's not going to happen.
No,
There
they're
will be
children.
gangs
They're
in America.
Nah, not like you think. Once you bring up a lot of them, they were wearing shithole lives. And you bring them here and give them a good life, show them good things, treat them well, and
Yeah, but
treat
you
them
can't do that.
nice.
It's been proven. It's been proven. You cannot take
Okay.
people from cultures like that,
I
bring
work
them
with
into
people
your
from the
culture,
Dominican
and
Republic, and I
expect
get
them
along
to
with them
behave
just
normally.
fine.
It doesn't work.
I work with Dominicans,
Yes, but that's
and
an
they're
isolated
completely
case.
just fine.
We're
The younger
we're
they
not
are, if
talking
they're
about
older ones,
Haitians or
yeah.
fucking people from backwards cultures,
But you
and they
bring
are
people
backwards.
here, their children will convert and become like the culture they're raised in.
So what makes a culture great compared to, as you say, quote, backwards? Like what measurement is used?
What you're talking? Well, for example, take a Western culture and compare it to Pakistan or a backwards culture,
Yeah. So
where
what I'm asking,
everything that one culture is for, the other one is the backwards of it.
I don't think it's that simple, but like specifically, I don't know, like, what are your metrics for great? And this is kind of what I'm driving at. Culture is entirely subjective. That there is no like this culture is objectively better by what
Yes, but
metric? Like,
you do acknowledge that not all cultures are equal.
absolutely.
You do, well, like kind of like your icon. You hold that old imperialist British view of the world.
Yeah, because that's the best way.
But that's the culture you're raised in. So therefore, you're going to hold that culture. You
I
were
know,
raised
but
in that imperialistic
if you take it in its purest form, if you take it in its purest form, it's the best and only way to succeed.
Well, no, I think America is more the evolved form of the British culture. We took what you guys gave us
How?
and transformed it into the greatest power in the world. We now control the world, not you.
I don't
Yes,
see
but
that as a good thing, but yeah.
you're confusing military power with a culture. Your culture is not better than British culture.
We don't really have a culture.
We were a colony, and then we brought in people from every part of the world and built this nation. First,
So
it
now
was
I'm
the
talking about the
Chinese.
culture, though.
The Chinese
What's your
laid the
culture? How is your
groundwork.
culture better than what Britain was doing 800 years ago? What's the difference?
We adopted
It's gone backwards,
Roman
not
ways.
forwards.
Rome brought people in from every part of the empire and built the greatest empire in the world. America brought people from every part of the world to build the greatest empire the world has ever seen.
So you think America's the greatest empire the world's ever seen?
So, thus
Fucking
far, we
delusional.
have the highest per capita income of any place in the world, pretty much. We have the strongest military in the world.
Gadwin, you have fucking 30
We have the
million
richest
people without healthcare, most people missing teeth, the most obese people, the most prescription drug takers, fucking
You know
ranked
what?
16th in the world education. You
I
think
agree
that's
with
good?
you on
Something
that.
to be proud about?
On all of that, I agree with you there.
Well,
Listen,
they have so
I
much
know that
food and
you're in your
abundance
little
that
bubble in
most of the
America, but
population can be fat. That's a bad thing.
no, it is a bad thing.
When most of your people can be not doing manual labor, and yeah, you're gonna get fat if you don't do manual
If
labor.
60% of your population is overweight and obese, that's
Yeah,
not
overweight.
going forward. That's
10
going backwards.
pounds over 10 pounds over your normal average BMI. I mean, that's nothing major.
No, that's a lie. Americans on average are massive.
Have you been?
I don't need to. The numbers are there.
Trobs looks like he could eat a couple Big Macs.
But what I'm saying is that as a culture, it's gone backwards. It's more degenerate. It's more sexualized. It's more shit than it was 80 years ago.
On what you look at, and depends on your
All
perspective.
right then. Let's do it this way. Are more people married with kids now than there was 100 years ago?
There's an automatic assumption there. You're starting with the belief.
No, it's not an assumption. It's because there's less people married with kids now than there was 100 years ago.
I get what you're saying, but you're starting.
It's gone backwards, not forwards.
I know,
and even though it's still better than 90% of the planet, there is some countries better. Like Australia probably is the number one right now on the planet.
Mm-hmm. You're right, but you're starting with the presupposition that having marriage and families is positive. Not everybody agrees with that. It's not automatic.
Yes, I know, but it's a foundation to a good society.
You have to look at the
disagree on
dynamics of it. In the past, the family unit was for survival. You needed to have a family for production at your farm, to make enough food so you can make it through the winter and survive. The kids you had, they were your labor force.
Yeah, but
so it was
Gadwin, you're arguing against facts here.
It's not important.
It's a proven fact that children that are raised with a man and a woman as parents, married parents, are happier than those that are raised with two mummies or two daddies or
actually,
single
I would
parents.
say it takes a community to raise a child. So I mean, in the past, it took a whole.
So
community.
that's marriage. That's the family structure. We've already established that was better 100 years ago.
Native Americans
now
the family structures there was.
Now, we've done the family structure. Now, if we go to education, do you think people these days are dumber than they were 100 years ago?
No, we're not. people nowadays, on average, know 3 to 100 times more than your common peasant did 100 years ago. I mean,
So
people
so
didn't know
you
shit
think
back in the days
you
besides
think a
basic things.
15-year-old in 1920 knows less than a 15-year-old today?
Oh, for sure.
I will argue against that. I think the average teenager today is a fucking retard.
Look how many
compared
things
to-
you learn nowadays. Like, there's so many things.
I would agree with both of you to an extent. So what I think is the type of knowledge is what's different. So
They had more
a
common sense
typical
in the
like
past,
millennial
basic.
type person, like starting with my generation and then going, it's gotten worse, is understanding what I think you would consider important, like logical not logical, like how to fix your car, shit like that. No one knows how to do that anymore. That's true. But when it comes to like knowledge of like information you can get online, we're more
how to use
educated than
TikTok
ever.
or how to Google a question.
Well, yes, and so it depends on what matters to you, but on certain things, you're right.
So I just want to know what's better about American culture now than 100 years ago. What's changed to make it better?
Well, for me, a lot of it would be with social things that you may disagree with, like giving black people the right to vote and women the right to vote. Like social change, I think, is a positive in general.
Segregation.
Yes, things like that. When it comes to, I don't know if that's what you specifically are looking for. Like, I don't know exactly what you're asking.
Yeah, you could argue giving women the right to vote. You could argue that.
Mm-hmm.
But as a whole, from the start when you laughed at the thought of it, now you're thinking about it, you can see there's not much better than 100 years ago. Most things have got worse, not better.
Some things have. It really depends on what we're talking about. But like, I am not like a freaking simp for the U.S. by any stretch of the imagination. I talk shit
Well,
about
it's not.
us all the damn
I'm not
time.
even strictly speaking about the U.S. It's a Western thing. It's the Western culture. It's
So you're kind of, you seem to be pushing like an old school values type thing, and that has been better for people in general. Is that where you're going?
Well, you don't think it has been better?
It depends on what you care about. Again,
listen, I'm not talking about being racist. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about your average person, your average guy.
You were born a white male. Yes, life was fucking great for you. But in the past, if you were born anything but a white male, life fucking sucked. So you're kind of looking at a perspective.
Yes, but why is that our? Why is that our problem
in the past? It's called liberties. As we advance forward, we give more social liberties to everybody. That's why we don't fucking.
Yes, and that when you do that, Godwin, it takes away liberties from everyone else.
What, so you think we should lynch gay people again?
No, I don't think we should lynch gay people. That's a bit harsh. I just think when it comes to gays, that's a religious thing. If you know what I'm saying?
And stuff like that. I know, but we can't just.
Resh wants to know specifically what got worse.
Society got worse. If you're a teenager growing up now, it is worse than growing up 20 years ago.
I agree with that, but I think that our answer to why that is would be entirely different.
I would
everything.
Say the time we grew up.
Listen, if you're 14 or 15 years old now, the chances are you live in a home without a mother or a father that aren't married. The chances are you don't know how to do anything but use a phone and the internet to work things out. The very high chances you're a criminal or obese. And even if you're doing good on your grades,
crime's
it's just everything.
Crime's at the lowest
it's
been ever.
Right so,
of course, crime's going to be low because you live in a white area.
No, I mean nationwide, crime's at like all-time lows. Like
bullshit. I was reading the FBI stats the other day. Blacks commit more crime, an equal amount of crime to all Hispanics and whites combined.
Look at the 70s and 80s.
Let that sink in. All the white people and Hispanics in America combined create an equal amount of crime to black
So
people.
if you only target mainly black, Hispanic communities and only mainly arrest those kind of people, what's your statistics going to look like?
That's ridiculous, though. Like, white
No,
people
it's
get away
not.
with anything. White people
No,
don't get away with crime.
oh, bullshit. I've seen a lot of white people get away with bullshit that they shouldn't have. Like, have you ever seen how a white person goes in, does a mass shooting, and the cops take him alive, but a black man fucking tries to itch his ass when he's being interrogated and they fucking shoot him?
Yeah, but most mass shootings, they kill themselves.
Like, there's not equal treatment here. I mean, there has been like.
Are you ashamed of being white, Gadwin?
I'm ashamed of what humanity has
Hey guys,
done.
just popped in.
Yeah, but why are you
Hello,
ashamed
Zach.
of being white?
I'm not. I'm ashamed of what humans have done to humans over ignorance.
Oh, where's my glasses?
On your head.
I don't know.
Oh,
You and Rush have always had justifications for black people committing the crime that they do. You've
Oh, here we
always
go.
got an excuse for it.
Oh, I bet white people do most crime.
Who's here? Is that Destiny girl here? I want to talk to her. Bring her on.
She's
See ya.
in chat. She said she's not coming up.
Is she watching porn?
I don't know. She might be.
Did you hear her say that last time?
Did she? I don't know.
Oh, it's all fogged up. I'm mooching off my parents' Wi-Fi outside, and they turn it off, so I might just phase off. But I just popped in to say hello to everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
I just turned on my YouTube. You popped on up. So I'm in my car. It's dark. I got a headlamp.
Have y'all looked at Odyssey's thumbnail?
Is that a vagine?
I was thinking it was labia too.
Oh, is that? Oh yeah. Oh, is that like an Andy Warhol vagina with the different colors? You know Andy Warhol?
It's almost
I
like a
can't
face
see.
hugger. That's what a face hugger looks like when it's gonna, latch onto your face.
Oh, I call
Do you know
that.
what? This is the best Rush has ever been on a
Oh,
stream.
that's the wizard's cap. It looks like a wizard's cap. If you look at it, that's the wizard. The clit is a wizard. There's a
Magical vagina.
no. It looks like a wizard's cap. You have to look at it from an angle. Anyways, whatever. The wizard. That's what I call it. One of the names, anyways.
Anyway, let me finish my point quickly.
That's the place where basically
Black people
that's the place
commit more
where
crime
all control
everywhere they
happens in
go.
true pleasure, and it's
Everywhere
my pleasure
they go.
to talk over you right now. Sorry.
Zach,
You won't be able to do it.
Can you
Everywhere they go,
home
black
talk?
people commit more crime.
Who is this that that's talking right now? I'm Zach.
Home
Who's
aerobic
that
is
guy?
in the
That
middle.
sounds British.
That's home aerobic. He's trying to make a point right now, so please let him talk.
Okay.
Right. That's what I hear the excuse that Gadwin has for it, that's all. Like, why do you think that is, Gadwin, that every country that black people go to, they commit the most crime?
I would see that because of past segregations and such, that black communities tend to be poorer communities, which have less opportunities as well, less good paying jobs, less education, so therefore you're going to have higher crime rates and therefore less intelligent people. You're also going to have more violent crime because they don't rationalize things, so you're going to have higher statistics of violent crime and such in those communities.
So why do we let them in?
Well,
why not deport them all? You could take away 50% of the crime in the USA overnight by deporting 13% of your population. Why doesn't it happen?
Because then you're just creating another, basically, Australia, where you have a whole bunch of people that resent the fuck out of you. Because Australia hates fucking England.
Yeah, look,
like
you
motherfucker.
used America for a prison place, and then you used Australia whenever America.
Oh, hold on. Home aerobic.
Send them back to Africa. You don't.
Hold on.
You don't need to.
Trobes.
Who cares if they resent?
Oh, I thought you were
Trobes,
talking
can I
about
say
Hispanic
something?
people.
Since it's Trobes' place, Trobes,
I don't. You don't have to ask permission every time. I just ask that you don't like constantly talk over people. Yeah, you can make a point.
It's not a point. It's
whatever you
good
want
I
to
would
say.
like to basically, I'm just saying hi. I'm introduced myself to home aerobics. My name's Zach. Hey, I'm just saying hello.
Yeah, that one.
That's it. Hi. I
Hello,
think
Zach.
I've talked to everybody. I'm kind of a new wacko chat guy, and I met Trobes a long time ago. I
You look
was
like a
thinking
UFO.
about basically, hold on, Ricky Martin, and how some guy was so dumb that he loves Ricky Martin. Then I turned on YouTube and basically
Living la vida
Trobes was saying,
loca.
hold on, the same thing. And he said that the other dude loved Ricky Martin. And I was like, holy shit. I was thinking the same thing. Then that's why I'm here. So that's it. Because that guy loves Ricky Martin. I don't know if you know who Ricky Martin is, but
Yeah, he's
Ricky
a
Martin's
faggot.
awesome. That's it. So that's my point is I bet home aerobics loves Ricky Martin.
No,
That's
I don't
it.
like gay people.
He's a Ricky Martin lover. Just like Trobe said, he knows.
How do you feel about Jamaica?
But hold on, I have to say
Bunch of
something.
retards.
I also like Ricky Martin. So I'm making a mess of everything here.
Jamaica's owned by the UK yet, right?
You're a fucking Ricky Martin lover. I know you. I know myself. That's it. Ricky Martin is so gay, and you're just like him. You have to basically reconcile all sin of mankind unto yourself. And until you do that and admit that you're gay like Ricky Martin, you'll never basically evolve.
Yeah, I'm not listening to you, man. Fuck off. You're doing me head in.
Now, I'm just basically, I don't want to be a troll or be too domineering because that's what I do.
Yeah, well, we're trying to have a normal
be
fucking
online.
discussion.
I can't be in public. I have to basically hide. They hide me away up here, and then.
Are you still living in the shack in your parents' backyard?
Kind of, yeah. They do.
Yeah,
I'm like a wild animal, and I'm not allowed to be.
Man, I just need to meditate on some of your actions.
I tried to meditate. I built the rock. I couldn't settle down. I made the whole rock garden, but I couldn't meditate.
You're adding too many steps. You could just sit on your bed and just shut up and think.
Gadwin is cool. He puts in the time. You're a nurse? Is that right?
Who? Where?
You?
No. Hell no.
I don't know who you are, but you sound like you're a cool guy. You're not a nurse? You brought us girls. That zombie girl, I liked what she had to say. Is that the mother of your kids? Or is that your ex-wife? Who is that zombie girl?
She's somebody.
Okay, it's personal, never mind. But yeah, he brought the zombie girl, so thanks. I'm causing distraction and confusion. You guys are having some sort of awesome conversation about racism. I don't mean to interrupt, but
by the way, while we're at a stopping point, I'm going to be running for about another 15 minutes, and then I got to go.
Oh, hey, thanks for letting me talk. I'm going to the back seat now.
All right.
So you guys all have a good time.
You too.
Yep. Bye-bye. See if I can press the right buttons and stuff to get out of here. Now I'm trapped here. I don't know how to work this technology.
I can take you out if you want me to.
Zach, before you go, can I get a quote on some landscaping?
Who's that?
On some landscaping.
Yep. Oh, that's what I'm doing in the summertime. Oh, can I get some technical advisement? Why is it when I enter the chat, I can't, because I'm on my phone, I can't see the chat. I just have the talking and the audio.
I haven't seen StreamYard on a phone, so I couldn't help there. I don't know what it looks like.
I'm not sure if because I don't have a personal computer, it's not being able to stream the conversation and the chat at the same time. But so I can't see any of the chat.
Oh, please don't let this fucking Brazilian cunt on here.
Who?
That
Hey,
drunk
I want to talk
fucking
to the
bitch.
girl from Brazil. This is gonna be awesome because I'm pretty loud and annoying like her, right? Let's do
It's
this.
probably
Tell
they're all
her to talk
trannies in
to me.
Brazil.
Oh my god. She'll just want you to pull the video down again.
No, okay. No, I'm just gonna encourage her. I need to go away now. But you guys have a good night. If I can, I don't know how to press the right buttons to leave. So I'm trying to leave, but I can't find the door.
I can get you out of here if you want me to. Just
Can you press the button, please?
Yeah.
Bye, Zach. He's ejected.
See, Zach, you're out now. Just so you know, I don't like to frickin' drop people randomly, so I had to make sure that's what you wanted.
Yeah, that Destiny is a fucking mental case.
Yeah.
Coming on here, fuck the USA, fuck the USA, when she's selling a pussy in Brazil.
Lives in a hut.
Look at little Austin having a cry.
I tend to agree with Destiny on at least most of this stuff, but when she's drunk, Jesus Christ, it's difficult.
Yeah, it's like arguing with an insane asylum person.
Yeah, I don't agree with her on most religious stuff. And actually, Rash and I were going to have a good discussion, but it's too difficult to pull off with frickin' whiteboard. Young people get excited.
I thought you said you people. I was like, yeah, I did there when you went to walk in front of the camera. I was like, oh shit. Hope it's the wrong don't come undone.
Don't speak to me. Don't even say my name, mademoiselle, you black fucking paedophile.
What was helpful? Imagine being called a racist by a toothless atheist. I'm hurt. I'm hurt, Betty.
Yeah, can we finish? Can we finish what we were talking about before I go anyway? I just want to know why mainly Gadwin and Rash defend black people's actions.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, but why do you do it? Do you feel guilty?
Honestly, I don't feel guilty at all. It's not like I don't identify by my race or ethnicity, so I don't consider myself.
I know, but you call yourself logical people, right? I'd say you do.
I
would try to be
different because I get a suntan in the summer. I was a day laborer.
So wait there. You call yourself logical people, yet the best states, safest states in the US are the ones with the least amount of blacks. The best countries in the world are ones with the least amount of blacks, and you can't look at that. Those are facts, and you can just look at it. Every country they fuck up, but you can't admit it to yourself because you're scared of being called racist.
So, under your view, I'm looking to understand, to unpack it here. So, after what you're saying here, now I don't know if that's a fact, but for a second, let's say that is.
It is a fact.
So hold on. So, why do you believe that they are bred like that genetically they're inferior, that they like are bred to literally
no listen, I'm not saying that all black people are bad. I'm saying that what my personal opinion is, there's a culture which surrounds a lot of black people which is fucking cancerous and creates the sort of shit that you see.
Can you say that
hood
again?
That hood ghetto culture that the majority of them grow up in is cancerous and self-defeating.
That hood ghetto culture is not reflective of Africans in general. It's only here in the United States, and I would say that it's a
no. It's not only there in the United States. We've got it in England.
That's the only place I've seen it.
We've got it in England. They've got their own little ghetto black. I don't know what it is. I think it's them reaching out to some
That's like
ancestral
thinking
bullshit.
the Russian Gopniks are like the reason for all the crime.
I
No,
really do believe
the reason for all the crime from the blacks is because of that culture.
I think that
That is the reason.
I think Mal is right here, and that a vast majority of it comes down to economics. I don't think it's just black people. I think that anywhere you go in the entire world where you don't have opportunity and you have poverty, you have
This is
crime.
what I'm saying. You're ignoring your own country's facts and statistics, Trobs. You're ignoring it.
Explain.
Like, yeah, that's what we're.
They commit more crime than all the whites and Hispanics in America combined.
I don't deny that. Look, I will grant you that. I'm not denying statistics. The only difference is I'm not saying I think that is the case due to historic systemic racism.
No, it's not. No, because the black people that grow up outside of that culture normally do well.
That proves my point, not yours.
It proves mine. That it's the culture, and it's everywhere they go. Everywhere.
If black people that aren't in these extremely areas that are fucking have years of systemic racism, no real opportunity or anything, and they do well, like Obama, then it's not just being black, which it goes to my point that it's more about a history of systemic racism that causes it.
Yep. It's all about who you're born to.
How is that true?
The economic status and your education.
How? What do you mean?
Society says the opposite to what you're saying. They get given more chances because they're black.
But everything in the world just comes down to an economic system. You got the rich at the top and the poor at the bottom. That is systemic across the whole entire world. Every culture has the rich at the top have everything, and you have the poor at the bottom, and they want them to fight any other group. That's
pretty much. And you get the same view from certain people, regardless. Like me, I live in a trailer. I'm considered trailer trash and violent and fucking all this shit that's not even true. It's
you make
generally
me guilty to say trailer trash at times.
Yeah.
If I say it, I feel guilty about onto Trumps, man.
I don't honestly. I don't have shame. I don't care. So I don't feel bad about it. I use myself as an example all the time. But the point is, it's only about poverty in general, and there's certain stereotypes associated with this, and I don't deny
I think it sounds like to me that your types and Gadwin's types feel guilty.
I don't feel guilty though.
I'm empathetic towards other people, of course. I feel other people's pain.
In order to feel guilty,
that's what they want you to that's what they want you to feel like. They want you to feel guilty for something that you didn't do or have anything to do with.
I don't believe that. I don't think that that's what anyone wants. I don't think
that you're holding that burden of slavery on your shoulders, and it shows by what you're saying.
I grew up. I lived in the North. PA was like a free state all the time. There was no slavery in PA. My state, none of that.
Poor white neighborhoods are as dangerous as black ones. I don't know where you're.
They are. No, they aren't. No, they are not. No, they aren't.
In my experience, they are.
You need to go to places like Cole County, PA, where they're dried up coal mining towns of nothing but white folks, and crime is through the roof because nobody has jobs. They're all on welfare. They all just steal from each other. They're all on drugs. It's all over PA, West Virginia, North Carolina. I'm sure has a bunch of old coal mining towns and stuff.
And still they commit less crime than black people.
Less enforcement of crime, I would say.
Because white people get away with crime, don't they?
They don't have the means. The police don't have the means to just detain them all and just go to all the calls. They just let a lot of it just slide. These communities, some of them don't even have police stations in them.
Listen, until people stop bending over for these fucking black people, and not just black people, migrants as well, until we stop bending over for them and tell them and put them in the place, it's going to keep happening.
Yeah, but it's 70% of people on welfare are white people. They're not black people.
But what is going to keep happening? like
Listen,
what?
there is more white people in poverty in America than there is black people.
Yeah.
A lot more.
That's why-
True.
But they don't.
but-
But there isn't a lot more crime.
What I'm saying, because the police enforcement isn't enforced on white people as though it is on black
No,
communities.
that's
Black
bullshit.
community. Oh, go look at the patrol routes. Cops will literally just be making circles through black communities, where white communities will get a call and just ignore it.
So you think white people get let off with crime in America because they don't? No way. It's a money-making business to the police. They want that
I'm
fine money.
honestly like I don't
'Cause
have a
it's
big part
a
skin in
petty
the
shit.
game here. Like I just believe that what I think is true. So if I'm wrong, all it would take is some sort of evidence to the contrary. I can't go by anecdote or like it's clear, like you can see it. I can't go by that. Like if you have some like actual
Yeah. Pull up the latest FBI stats and have a look at them.
No.
Like-
Okay, look. The stats don't prove your point because all the stats show is that black people commit more crime. They don't.
Oh yeah,
show
and keep in
why.
mind, New York does not add their crime stats to that because New York, it's all black people doing the crime.
So are these people getting pulled over and then they get arrested because the cop?
No, they're
is,
murdering people. That's the point. They're murdering
Okay.
people.
No, you got.
They're shooting people.
There's violent crime, which is a different statistic.
Yes,
than
I'm
just
talking
crime
about.
rate.
I'm talking about all crime. But if you went to
all
violent crime, it's even
count.
worse.
Just the simplest, pettiest shit. Like they just stop and frisk a kid and find a bag of weed on him and fucking take him
Yes.
in. That's crime statistics, and they enforce that heavily in black communities.
But you can, if you go on the FBI site, you can filter it, and you can look at every crime you want to look at. And the fact is, for the small percent of the population that they are, they
Yeah,
do
they're
a
like
heavy
30%
amount of
of the
crime.
They're like
But
30%
it-
of the population.
but it-
something like that.
But it doesn't answer the point of their intent. All it tells you is they commit more crime. It doesn't.
No,
tell you
it's the
why.
culture they've got. Listen, it's the culture that they grow up in. They've got an
A lot of-
attitude.
There's a
They
poorest
think
community
everyone
in
owes
the-
them something. They're
No.
not ashamed of anything.
Well, I mean, you live in the circumstance they have with poor education.
They don't have poor education.
Anyway.
Their education is poor because they fuck around.
No,
They
look
don't
at
behave.
Mississippi,
They don't learn. They have the
Mississippi,
opportunity and they don't
Alabama,
take it.
Georgia. Go to look at
Yeah.
the Bible Belt in the South. They have poor education and a lot of poverty. Few
So-
job
Yeah, but-
opportunities.
They have poor education because they choose not to fucking listen at school. It's their choice to be a cunt.
So let's try to get this back. I'm trying to like take your view as seriously as possible. So like if what you're saying is true, home, like where did it begin? What is the root? When did this culture start to pop up in America? At what
I think
time?
it's from the moment you free them.
Really? So you do. It goes back to like a biological thing. You think
From the
that they're,
moment you
like-
freed slave, you owed them. And that's still their mindset today.
Okay.
And it's the same in England. From the moment that they was freed, we owe them something.
So I
because-
don't know anything about this. So were they freed in England around the same time? Like I don't
Well,
know
because
anything.
we've got it with the Caribbean lot.
Mhm.
Do you know, because of the history with the Caribbean. So they've got that attitude that we owe them something because we
Mhm.
took their ancestors as slaves.
Right.
So we owe them. So they do what they want, behave how they want, be pieces of shit. And all they do really is kill each other in England. They just stab each other. Go and look at the London stabbings. It's just black Caribbean, second and third wave immigrants stabbing each other. And the same in America. You've got third and fourth generation African slaves. And look what they're doing, shooting each other and killing each other.
So we don't disagree on the actions. What we disagree on is the intent and what caused it in the
No.
first place.
It's not that I disagree. My point is, how long is it going to go on for before people start talking about it and taking it seriously?
Well,
Well,
if you
I-
lock up all
I-
the fathers and there's no father figures to raise these boys, you're going to get a bunch of
Killing,
boys
he's
with
still
fathers.
making excuses.
Well, I'm
Listen, there's
looking
no
at causes
excuses
and
that can-
effects. You want to
Listen,
know the cause. or
Gadwin, the
effect.
cause is the culture. It's the culture, Gadwin. Because if
So
it's
Go
not the
around
culture,
arresting all the
it's
fathers.
genetic. And it's not
So-
genetic because they're not all like that. So it's got
Well,
to be the culture.
those aren't the only two. So it's either their culture, it's genetics, or it's their history having led them down, which sort of goes into culture, but not directly.
Well,
it
it is the
kinda
culture
leads-
because they're taught from a young age that the whites owe you this, the whites did this to you, the whites hate you, they'll never do nothing, it's you against them. That's what's drilled into them since they're kids by the overweight, obese single mother.
Like
So
based
you
on
can't,
based on what? Like where do you get that from? Like how do you
Yeah.
know that?
because you can hear it when they talk.
You can hear them like they teach their children like white people owe you. You don't have to do
Yes,
anything.
yes, they do.
I've
They
never
do.
seen
No.
this.
Yeah,
I've
I
never
seen
like
that.
if I see it, for one, it might be an anecdote. It might just be one person. But like, how are you going to show that that's like a broad thing? That's like
Because it's like I said to you, it's part of the backwards culture that they have.
I've worked with people from many cultures of the world, and it all comes down to an individual person basis. That who that person is. Some people are lazy as fuck. Some people are just motivated as fuck. I mean, it's all down to the person.
This is what I'm talking about. The black people that aren't in that culture, that are from middle class families, they seem to succeed in life and do well. It's the
That's why we gotta get
it's
rid
the
of
ones in the
populism.
hood ghetto culture, which is most of them. They
That's
have
why we
this
need
chip on the shoulder.
education and welfare. The welfare brings up the level, the standard level of like for people, so that they rise up, say stop stealing each other's shit, and then
Yes,
you
but the
educate
welfare
them.
also at the same time contributes to them not having a father, because they don't need no man.
What? No. Like
Yes, a
most
lot more of
people on
them would
food
have had fathers if
stamps
there was no
are working
welfare.
families. The most people on food stamps are working families. They're not these just single families by themselves now.
I saw something. It said like 70% of black children in America are in single parent households. 70%.
Because of all the shit from the past, like 50s, 60s, Jim Crow
so
shit, you still
so
have
that
this race
like
that's in
I
power.
can save us a lot of time. It's always going to go back to this. We agree on the facts, on what's happening. What we don't agree on is it caused by a history of slavery? Is it caused by culture? We don't know the actual
Bullshit.
answer. So you're going to say culture. We're going to say history of slavery. Like it's impossible to like go. Where do we go from there? Like you need some form of evidence.
Yeah, but
like
the questions that need to be asked is, why is it ignored? Why
Look up
why for the last
I don't
40
think
years have they got away with it?
I don't
Look
think
up the
it's
burning
ignored.
of Black Wall Street. Black people had their own communities sometimes, and the KKK and shit would come in and burn it all the fuck down, take it all away from them. Every time black people built a decent community, white people destroyed it.
No, but that's not true.
Yes, it is.
I can
There's
tell you
many
what
other
happens.
things done that
Right,
cross
let me
America
tell you what
that.
happens. You take a nice white little neighborhood, all right? Nice white little neighborhood. A black person moves in. A middle class black
Jesus
person,
Christ.
right? They say, "Oh, this neighborhood's nice." They invite their friends to come and live in this neighborhood. And then they invite their friends to come and live in this neighborhood. And before you know it, it's a majority black neighborhood, and the white remaining people fucking leave because it's turned to a shithole. And then it all starts again. That is what happens.
Seems more like prejudiced people to start with, and they're just all acting the way.
They're not prejudiced, though, are they? Because they know. It's not prejudice, is it? It's using your brain. Would you want to live in a majority black neighborhood, Gadwin? Would you live there?
For me,
If I
it
grew
would.
up in that,
For me,
if
it
I
would
grew up in that
depend
kind of
on.
circumstance,
Yeah.
Even black people want to get out of there. What's the first thing they do when they get rich? Black people move away from fucking black people and live with amongst the whites.
but
Why do you think they do that?
Circumstance, they have no. You can't pick where you're born. You can't pick to who you're born. I mean, it's a roll of the fucking dice we all got.
No, but it's a. When have you ever heard a president talk about it?
It needs addressed, but it's poverty based, and
Well,
it's just
I think
too much.
one reason behind why presidents don't jump into it is because, like, if you're on the left and you talk about black crime, then the left tries to eat you fucking alive and calls you a racist. If regardless of where you do, if you start talking about it, one, you get called a racist, or
Exactly, yeah.
or you get called like a virtue signaler, like you're using race to for your personal political shit when that may not even be the case. Same with racism, by the way. Like it's hard.
Yeah, but they do use it
about
politically. They do use it politically. You can't really.
In
You
what
can't
way?
deny that.
Well,
The
they
media is
do for
designed
sure.
to drive us apart. The media does not want unity. It's a tool used by the wealthy to keep the middle class and the poor fighting each other.
Do you
They
remember
don't
when
see the
Trayvon,
unified
like
people.
Trayvon Martin thing happened, and Obama said that if I had a son, he would have looked like Trayvon?
No, I don't care that much.
This is good. So Betty started out like fucking homophobic, blocked me, piece of shit, fag, whatever, and then like now it's completely flipped. Like homophobic's the only person with a functioning brain.
Yes, I know, but anyone can see this if you just take the time to look. It's not. Don't come at it from a racial angle. Come at it from a logical angle where you're looking at the numbers and
No,
you think,
if
wait a
you're
minute.
just talking about the crime and the statistical facts, we don't disagree. There's
the
no
reason-
logical disagreement.
The reason
We-
the poverty though is because of past racism though. That's the only
Exactly.
reason they're
So
poor.
that's not illogical. Like where we differ is why. Why does it happen? That's where we differ.
And
we
you also
don't
know
know.
that this issue with that lot, it also seeps into other things like this whole defund the police thing is down to them.
Well, the
Police
defund
are
the police
overfunded.
thing, I think it was kind of silly, like how extreme it got. But also, I want to say, because this happens a lot, some like small little pocket of extremist people will make a claim, and the media will overhype the shit out of it, and then they go, "The left want to defund the police," when it's like less than 1%. Like it's not this big thing.
Well, and if you ever look at the police budgets, I worked with them in some like jobs doing impound lots and shit. So their whole thing is every year they get a budget. So and their goal is to meet that budget or go over that. So then next year they get a bigger budget, and then they do it again and get a bigger budget. Now look at this LA fire thing. If you look at the budget where all the town's money was allocated, half of it went to the police department, and the rest had to go for EMS, fire, everything else.
I
They're
know, but if
way
you look at places like
overfunded.
if you look at places like New York City that have had the police defunded and seen what it's like now, it's a shithole. Crime-ridden shithole.
Crime is way down. You don't hear bank robberies anymore. You don't hear of a lot of shit anymore because there's cameras everywhere. People know they'll get caught, so they don't do that. They're cracking down on the retail theft shit already. They're making new laws for that. There has to be a law on a book to enforce things. If there's not something on the books, then they can't enforce things. They have to change laws and then get shit done. They are working on it.
Just the other day, a black person randomly walked up to a stranger and pushed him in front of a train in New York City for no reason. Just felt like it.
Yeah, people are assholes, but judge them on an individual basis. Don't judge them on the color of a skin. I know plenty of white people that are just.
No, that's the thing, though. You'd be an idiot. You'd be an idiot not to. You would be an actual idiot not to judge your surroundings and people based on the color of the skin. Not in a negative way, just in the way that you acknowledge that this is a black guy and is a lot more likely to fucking rob you or try and assault you.
I would agree if there's like a constant how would you put it, like anecdotally in your own experience, if you've seen a constant pattern and it's not based on just like racism or like loving your own race or anything,
the pattern's
then I agree, but it's only anecdotal because other people don't have that experience and will say the opposite. So
listen,
you think
I don't have that experience. No black person's ever done anything to me. But I know for a fact if I'm stood in a garage at night, a petrol station, and a young black guy comes in with his hood up, I'm going to be more on guard and alert than if it was a white guy.
I would not,
because they are known.
So it's, for me, it's less about skin color. It's more about like subculture. If I look at someone and they're like sagging pants and shit, that's not about black because there's white people that do that. I would feel the same way, but it's not about skin color. It's about their perceived subculture, I guess. Yeah,
well, and you can kind
that's
of.
what I mean. But if you don't look at them like that, you're eventually going to become a victim.
I agree with you, but I disagree with it being about skin color. I don't think that is important.
This is the thing. Just stay the fuck out of the ghetto. Simple as that.
Yes, but they don't go robbing in ghettos, do they? They go out of the ghetto to rob.
Andy wants me to say something. There you go, something.
The emu is talking.
And I'm saying something and I'm doing it in Australian.
You call that a knife? This is a knife.
All right, guys. Well, we're at a stopping
Anyway.
point. I'm already like 11 minutes past, so
My
I need
point
to-
my point was made anyway.
Yeah.
You understand my point.
I understand your point. We disagree in the end, but I at least it's not absolutely crazy, I don't think, but yeah. So we can talk about it more another time. I'm sure this is one of those things that are always going to be brought up, like religion and other political things.
Yeah, before we go, I just want to say Austin is a paedophile.
Austin, is that true?
I can tell by the way he types. Definitely a paedophile. Hey, look, it's acid trip. Packy, hello, bloody acid.
You can prove that. What the hell? I don't think that's
Yes,
the answer
Austin.
you wanted.
We can take DNA swabs of your penis and determine that it's got DNA of children on it. You are a paedophile, Austin.
All right, guys. It's been fun. Destiny, you get your final comment talking shit about the US. And it's been great. I will see you guys next week if you're available. Same time as always.
Till next time. Later.
See you, man.